Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Eric. Eric is from Vancouver in Canada. So let's see what Eric has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello. Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello, Eric. Yes, I can hear you now. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time for the interview today. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Eric, before we start the game, just tell me where you're from.
I'm from Vancouver Island, Canada.
Wow. What's the best part of living there?
It's the beach. It is the beach. It's so beautiful here. There's so many places to explore. The nature is phenomenal.
Amazing. So it's Vancouver City or is outside Vancouver?
It's outside of Vancouver. I think most people know where Vancouver-Canada is. So you take a ferry and you end up on an island, and that's where I am.
Amazing. And what do you do for a living, Eric?
I'm a registered nurse. So technically I'm trained in two capacities. One is sexual health and the other is emergency nursing, which are very different.
and I believe as well that you have a YouTube channel.
I do, yep. I also have a YouTube channel. It used to be about Pokemon and anime stuff, but I'm actually changing it over. And it's gonna be just about medical facts, psychology facts, science, stuff like that.
Beautiful, beautiful. So through the game, I'm going to explore a little bit about your YouTube channel. I'm going to ask a little bit more about your career as well as a nurse, okay?
Sure.
But before we start the game, would you like to tell me something interesting about yourself?
Something interesting about myself. Oh man. I like how it always draws a blank for me. I'm like, what's interesting about me? I would say, wow. I'm probably very unconventional. I think that's what's interesting about me. Yeah, I don't really follow societal norms so much. And it's not really like trying to be anti-conformist. I just find it, the capitalistic idea of life does not suit me.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And actually, I was in Canada. I just came back a week ago, but I was in the other side of Canada. I was in Montreal. So my best friend, he lives there, and I've been there. It was the third time in Canada, but it's the first time that I spent Christmas and New Year's Eve as well. And I was very lucky because it was snowing. It was beautiful.
So was it a white Christmas then?
It was actually, and actually when I arrived there, like a week before Christmas, my best friend said, William, I don't think you're gonna see any snow on Christmas Day, but it might change through the days. And actually I was lucky. It was snowing, not heavily, but it was snowing. So I was like, oh my God, Christmas in Canada, snow is just like a plus. It was the best time ever. But I never explored. The first time I went to Canada, I was exploring Toronto. The second time I was exploring Ottawa, the other side, but I didn't get that far to Vancouver, the other side. Maybe next time.
Yeah, you know what we say here is that the West Coast is the best coast.
There we go. I'll remember that. Eric, I'm just going to play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay?
Sure.
Let's do it. Yeah. Okay, Eric, before we start the game, just through the journey, if there is a question that you don't have an answer for or you don't want to talk for some reason, I always can change, okay? It's all very friendly.
Sure.
Let's do it. First question for you is, if someone offered to tell your future, would you accept it or not, and why?
Whoa, that is a really cool question. I guess my first thought is I would fear that by someone telling me my future is that I would actively try to get there or actively try not to get there, which may actually mess up the course of time. So I would say I would not want to know. The anxiety of knowing when and where is going to happen would drive me insane. I would rather not know. Ignorance is bliss.
Very good. And let's say that if the same person came up to you with an envelope with your death date inside, would you open it or not?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I would. I would want it. I wouldn't open it necessarily, but I would take that. Yeah, absolutely. And then I would figure out something cool to do with it.
I love the answer. Next question, Eric. Let's do it. Before the next question, Eric, tell me, what's the best part of being a nurse and what's the most challenging part in your opinion?
Yeah, I think my favorite part of being a nurse is in certain capacities, I can really make a difference in people's lives. And I know that the care that I give does make a difference because I try a humanistic approach and I try to help them understand better what their condition is or what's happening in their lives and what they can do to prevent it. Where I feel like sometimes in healthcare, we just do the Band-Aid solution is we just be like, here you go, get out of here. But I think we need to do more primary preventative stuff. The challenging stuff is when people don't want to listen to better reasoning. Like I literally have diabetic people coming in with McDonald's bags, eating McDonald's, being like, I have abdominal pain. And you're like, well, yes, you do.
It's visible.
Yeah, put down that Coca-Cola.
Yes, I think it can be a bit tricky for you to deal with this kind of situation, those emotion as well. People, they're so different and sometimes you don't know what to expect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Next question for you is, what was the last time or the last thing that made you smile?
The last thing that made me smile is I had a lovely patient and her husband, and I'm pretty sure she was demented, which is fine. And she kept on saying, oh, you know, I have a daughter your age that you would get along with. And the husband was just like, oh, here she goes again.
Oh, that's sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah.
Next question. Next question for you. Let's do it. What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness to me is not an end goal, but for me, it is the journey to get there. And I think Miley Cyrus's song, I think she didn't write it, but The Climb exemplifies that in saying that it's it's the journey, that's the happiness part, right? For me in my life, I've had many goals that I've accomplished and I've never felt happiness from accomplishing it so much as the process of getting there.
Do you believe that happiness is a choice?
I think that it is, that's a really tough one because I've seen people who are just in a medical profession. I'm gonna say no, and it's not a choice. And I absolutely hate when someone says that they're sad and then someone else says, have you ever tried just being happy? Like, oh yeah, of course. It's just like a switch in my head and suddenly everything's better. So I don't think happiness is a choice for everybody, but I do think for certain people that they lament too much. And if you were to gratify more in life, that things would appear to be more happy and you'd begin to experience the wonderfulness that is around.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. I think sometimes, even though maybe for you it's easy to deal with emotions and put your mindset in a happiness mood, but some people it's not that easy. Some people they approach in a different way.
Definitely.
Yeah. Next question, Eric. Let's do it. Eric from Vancouver. Next question for you is, what has been the happiest point of your life?
Oh man, I think the happiest point of my life is when I got into nursing school. And I remember that moment when I opened the letter and I read it. And I'm pretty sure I cried because I recognized that from that point on, everything was gonna be okay in the sense that I had like a path and a career that could bring me forward to achieve any of my goals. So I think that was one moment where I actually shed tears of happiness.
And saying that, Eric, when was the moment that you thought, okay, I was born to be a nurse. That's what I want to do for life. There was something back in your childhood or something, an idol. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so when I recognized that I wanted to be a nurse was in my school age. When I was in grade 7 or grade 8, there was a group of older youth who were doing sexual health education. The idea was you have youth teaching youth, because we don't want some like 60-year-old nurse being like, here's how you have sex. And it's like, you haven't had sex in a long time, lady, come on. So I was one of the kids who were answering the questions and engaging with them. And they were like, hey, like you should join our group when you're older. And I did, and it was ran by nurses. And then from that moment, I'm like, you know what? I really want to get into sexual health nursing. From that, I ended up making a video when I was 14, and it was about HIV and AIDS, and it won an award, and it was shown in schools across the island. It was pretty cool. So I think from that moment, I was like, you know what? Like healthcare is where I want to be.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Next question. Let's do it. Next question for you is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years is a question that I always enjoy receiving. I think it's funny, I had a job interview not too long ago and they asked me that, and I'm like, you know what? 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have been able to answer that question, like definitely. But now the world is changing so rapidly, I have no idea. I have things that I'd like to do and accomplish, but where I'm gonna be, I don't know. I don't even know where the world's gonna be at in like a few weeks with like everything that's happening with COVID. I would like to travel again. Please put me on a beach, get me some vitamin D. I'm very white.
It's totally true what you say. I remember 2020. Nowadays, when you need to talk about years pass by, and you get confused because 2020, because it was like in blank. You know what I mean? You go like, oh, actually, I remember I started my job just at the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020 when the words literally stopped. And when I talk to people about I said, my God, I have no idea how many years I've been working there because of the COVID situation. It's always a tricky one, isn't it? Even more now.
Yeah.
Next question. For the next one, Eric, as you say about sexual health and about HIV, do you think that nowadays HIV is still a taboo that people are scared of, even though because of technology? I think even in London nowadays, you can see like in the buses, you can see in the underground station, a lot of information about HIV, about, you know what I mean, how to protect and this and that. And I can see that the information is more out there. In your opinion, do you think it's less than a taboo as like in the 80s, the 90s, or beginning of the 2000s? What's your take on that as a nurse?
I would say that HIV still has a big stigma. Despite all the information that's out there. There is a campaign which is the U equals U, which means if you are undetectable, therefore you are untransmissible. And to put that in a different way is if your viral load of HIV is so low, the probability of you actually passing it on is null, like you can't. So I think for the educated people, it's much more okay now. And folks are okay being in serodiscordant couples, which means one person's HIV positive, one person is HIV negative. And that is because there's also that medication PrEP, which people are on, which prevents HIV. And a lot of people are on it, which is great. I would say the men who have sex with men population are very up to date on this information. And it's the older folks who are not. A great example of this is I had a 60-year-old gentleman who was sexually active, good for him. And he had his wife and he had his mistress. And I remember he ended up catching, it was chlamydia or gonorrhea from his mistress, and he didn't want his wife to find out. So I was talking to him and I was like, all right, so we should probably, we'll test you for chlamydia and gonorrhea, and we should do some blood work too for HIV and syphilis. And he's like, HIV? No, they're not lesbians, you're confused. That was like, right, because automatically there's this whole generation that assumes anyone in that LGBTQ plus spectrum has HIV. And there's no reason that people would educate themselves about it unless it directly affects them.
See, it's you said something very interesting, Eric, because a few years ago when I went for a checkup regarding my sexual health, and I remember talking to the nurse, to the doctor, and she asked me about my sexual life, who I had sex with, and when I told her, and I said, she asked me if I knew about the stage of this person. I said yes, this person was positive and undetectable. She was like, oh, okay, and she carries on, and I was like, oh my god, that's a good thing, and she explained to me the same way as you did now, because I was expecting, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, maybe something not. I was educated, but her reaction was the best. She was like, oh, okay. She was so. I said, oh my god, she was so comfortable about it, and she explained to me the same way as you said, and it was interesting. I really found it interesting the way she was explaining.
Yeah, I think the thing is, the more we talk about it and the more we educate people, the better it is. As soon as you start being like, oh, you shouldn't, and here's the risk. Like at the end of the day, people are going to be having sex without condoms and with partners they don't know no matter what. So take away that stigma and allow people to feel comfortable and safe to talk about it without the shame. And then we're going to see more people getting tested.
Absolutely. Next question for you is, I love this question. Send away a message to someone, but you don't need to tell who this message is for.
Just like right now, tell someone something?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that I miss you.
Oh, that's sweet. Beautiful. I love that. Next question. Eric, before the next question, tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel. How did you start it out? What was the big inspiration?
Sure. Yeah. So my inspiration for my YouTube channel, which is primarily Pokemon facts, it came from watching some parody videos of I think it was Sailor Moon and Yu-Gi-Oh, which are both animes, and I thought I could do something like that. So I ended up taking episodes of Pokemon, like the original episodes, and then carving them down into 30 seconds, so like all the filler was out, and just make it exactly 30 seconds. And that took off, so I'm like, I'm gonna start doing some fact videos. So I did fact videos about how there was seizures caused in Japan from episodes of Pokemon. Then I started getting into more serious stuff like psychology of Pokemon, and then also looking at the LGBTQ plus aspects of Sailor Moon and how North America censored it. So that was pretty cool. So I just started going on this like trend of adding depth to a subject that didn't have much depth to it. So I think that's the start of it. Now I'm transitioning away from this niche into more things about medical facts, science, psychology, positive psychology, things that are more applicable to everyday life.
Good. Next question for you is, what makes you laugh out loud?
Things that make me laugh out loud is dank memes. And by that, I mean just stupid memes. I like watching cats attack their owners. I like goats, llamas, any animal videos of animals doing obscure things instantly cheer me up and make me like literally laugh out loud.
I think animals, they're so genuine and so funny at the same time. So they do things that it just made you blow up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Next question. Eric, next question for you is, what is something that you won and how did you win it? Something special.
Sure. I would say I played volleyball in a gay league, and it's really fun. And we do tournaments, and it's all across North America. So although I'm in Canada, my team has traveled to Seattle, Portland. This is on the West Coast, and we've been to Texas. I've been to Hawaii. So something I really wanted was my team to win gold, gold medals, and we went for it. So what we ended up doing is we had weekly practices, and we would find teams that we thought were going to be really challenging in certain aspects. I was a captain of it. It was a lot of fun to like create a team, to find teams that were stronger than us and like fight them. So I think, and like that kind of brings back in the happiness thing. When I think about it, the happy moments that I can think of in the past were like those days when we were trying and we were failing and we were succeeding. The actual winning the gold medal, yeah, that was pretty cool. But it was the journey, man. That was good times.
I'll tell you something now. I played volleyball professionally as a teenager I started when I was 12 and I finished when I was 18 when I moved to Portugal in Europe.
Cool.
It was my passion. I was literally playing every single day. And I'm so grateful for that time in my life because it gives so much strength for your, you know what I mean, your life. And you always remember being a team, how to play together, how to your life, you know what I mean, is kind of have a big impact in your personal life. When I look back, I just love volleyball. Nowadays, I sometimes when I have the opportunity, I can play as well, but not like before. And I miss it because it was such a great time of this period of my life. I love volleyball.
Yeah.
Ready for another one?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Eric, before the next one, as you're saying about being gay, did you always have the support of your family?
In terms of being gay and having support from my family, I didn't really come out until I was to my family when I was 18 or older. And my family was fine with it, but I knew they would be because when they were growing up, my mom and dad, their best friend happened to be gay. So already I knew that they'd be accepting of it, but it was more about me accepting myself and being able to have others accept me. So yeah, I've never been blacklisted or not talked to from family because of it.
And you have siblings as well?
I do, yep, and they're all okay with it.
Very good. Next question for you is, what is your least favorite chore?
My least favorite chore is probably anything that involves scrubbing like a bathtub because of the angle. So if it's straight up and down, awesome. It's those like weird curves that you have to like get in and like scrub. I just don't like it. I don't know why. It's the first thing that came to mind.
Very good. Next one. Before the next question, would you like to tell me a moment in your career as a nurse that you thought to yourself, okay, that was my best working day so far? Was a moment or a situation that you handled well, or for some emotion or something special that you can recall?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got a funny one that I remember, and I always tell. I had an old lady come in, and her daughter was there. And this lady needed blood transfusions because she always had chronically low red blood cells. I think she had there was some sort of disease where she was not getting red blood cells. And for the context of it, it makes people feel weak and unwell. So she was in there, she has terrible veins. She always says she has at least 4 or 5 pokes, and I can see the bruises all over her arm. So I managed to get it on the first try. Already she's super excited. And I'm about to go grab this bag of blood. And she asks me, oh, could you grab the blood of a nice young man? And I was like, yeah, oh, okay, yeah, I'll work on that. So we don't know who the blood is. We don't know where it comes from. Like, we don't have that tracking mechanism here. So I went over to the computer and I printed off a picture of Brad Pitt from Fight Club. And I taped it to the bag, but I folded it so she couldn't see. So I went in the room and I said, there's a picture of the person whose blood it is, but I'm not going to show you until it starts. And she was so excited. So I hooked her up to the blood thing and I unraveled it. And she just started laughing so hard that she cried. And her daughter starts laughing and she says, you have no idea, that's her favorite celebrity.
Oh my God, that's beautiful, Eric. Yeah. Oh my God.
So it's like little moments like that I think about, like, this is how you can make someone's like time more enjoyable, right? It took me like 2 extra minutes to go and do that, and it made their experience phenomenal, right? That's the above and beyond approach that I often like to take.
Oh my God, I just can see her telling her friends, telling her family about the situation. Beautiful.
Definitely.
Beautiful. Next question for you is, if you could have dinner with anyone, living or not, who that would be and why?
I think I would want to I would have dinner with Margaret Atwood. Margaret Atwood is a Canadian author, and she's very progressive for I want to say for her age. And that being is that I have this idea, and I could be wrong, that a lot of older folks are very set in their ways. And it seems that from reading her literature and her books, that she has a really great idea of what is happening in the world. A lot of people may disagree and say that her wokefulness is kind of obnoxious, but I find her very, very interesting.
Be good. Next question. Let's do it. Before the next question, tell me, I'm gonna come to Vancouver for the very first time, and you're gonna have the opportunity to be my tourist guide or to give me some tips or information about the city. What should I do? There's like, if you could pick some places or something that I cannot miss it, what that would be?
Yeah. If someone was going to go to Vancouver proper, I would say you would want to experience the Stanley Park seawall. That is phenomenal all in itself. You can walk it, you can rent a bike, and you can bike around it. It's about 18K. It's great. And then there's the actual Stanley Park itself. It is just so darn beautiful. There's Capiano Suspension Bridge, which has like a tree-topped kind of town. You go across a giant valley canyon. There's so much to see there. And if you were going to go to Vancouver Island, where the tourists always go, is the far west point of the island, which is Tofino, and it has the most beautiful beaches you've ever seen there. And interestingly enough, sometimes we get stuff from Japan that washes up on the shores of Tofino.
Wow, very interesting. Like that. Next question for you is, what's your funniest memory of your time at school?
Oh, my funniest memory at my time at school. This is going to be super inappropriate, but I'm just going to say it. The one time as I was a student, I had a patient who had a prolapsed rectum, which means that this sounds really weird, but the rectum like came out of their anus. Anyways, I'm a student and we're in the trauma bay, and the doctor says, hey, like I need an extra set of hands. Who can help me? So I'm like, yeah, whatever. Throw my sterile gloves, and I'm literally like helping pack this back inside. And then the doctor was like, wow, like you're really good at that. This was after the case. And I'm like, yeah, I guess you guys didn't know I have experience packing fudge. And everyone just was like erupted. It was so good. I'll never forget that moment.
Oh, that's so funny. Oh my God. I'm so glad that this question came up to you. 3 questions left, Eric. Let's do it. Next question for you is, in your opinion, what do you think people need to know about each other before they start a relationship?
Yeah, I would say a love language is something that people should know before they start a relationship with someone. And anyone can Google what a love language is. It's really simple. You can find a PDF or just image of it. But basically, it's to know how one person expresses their admiration, their feelings, and their affection towards someone else. And it's good so that you know when they're doing it, that you can validate that. And then also know that you are aware that they are trying to show affection. And vice versa too. So I think it's good to be in tune with your partner and know what messages that they're trying to send you. Without that, a relationship may not work. Like for instance, if one aspect of love language is giving gifts, and someone is giving you small gifts, whether it be treats or brownies or coffees, and you're not very appreciative of that could hurt their feelings because you're not validating their experience and their admiration towards you.
Wow, I love your answer. My God, beautiful. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next question, what would be your best piece of advice to someone watching the interview? Would you like to start a career as a nurse?
The advice I would give to someone who wants to start a career as a nurse is to make sure that you're comfortable with blood. And this is true because there are people who faint at the sight of blood. I've known people who struggled to get into nursing school because it's competitive, and then they finally get in, and then like half a year into it, they're like, I can't do blood. I can't do bodily fluids. I can't do, So sure that you are comfortable with bodily fluids and blood before you get into nursing school, because the last thing you want to do is spend the money and time trying to get in only to find out that you're not comfortable with it. It can be fine to be like, you don't like earwax or you don't like babies and you want to do other types of nursing, But fundamentally, doesn't matter what area of nursing you are in, you will deal with blood.
Wow. So you had a few situations in your professional life that people, they give up through the course because of that.
Yeah, there has been people in school who are going through school and decided that they can't do it, or people who actually go through nursing and they realize that it's just not for them. So really check yourself and make sure that you can give yourself emotionally to this job. It is very demanding because you are dealing with everyone else's problems throughout the day. So it's tough.
Good tip. Next question for you is, if you could change something in yourself or about yourself, what that would be and why?
Yes, this is going to sound very superficial. Well, here we go. My eyebrows are so damn light that sometimes I've actually had people ask me, it's like, are you a chemo patient? Like right now they're looking okay, because yeah, but there's been times if I like shave my head and then like they're just, especially in the summer because I'm like auburn or blonde, they just disappear. Like they're there, but you can't see them. They're translucent. So I kind of wish that my body would just figure itself out and be like, hey, we're gonna add color to these bad boys here.
Funny. Last question, ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Eric, but before the last question, you just touch upon a point about your career that's, of course, as you said, you deal a lot of emotion about with your clients. You know, I'm sure there's so much things happening in their lives and the situation yourself, you're not face it. Two questions. The first one is, how do you find, let's say, your own protection, a barrier to not take that to your private life, not bring this energy to your private life? And the second question is, of course, you're working through this COVID crisis, like you've been seeing like a lot in your career. What's the most positive thing you took out of this challenge journey so far?
Yeah. So in terms of being able to not take home pieces, emotional things back into your personal life is you also can't bring it to work either. You have to leave your baggage at the door. And it is hard because there are going to be moments that are going to irk you or they're going to stick with you. But I think it's the personal care. You have to take time to de-stress, to allow your body to decompress and give yourself space to be honest to your feelings. If you had a bad day, why did you have a bad day? What could you do better? Did something bother you at work that you saw? Why did it bother you? Actually think about it, talk about it to a loved one. Don't hold it in because you never deal with it and it just festers and builds inside. As for COVID, I think the thing that came out of it that has been positive is recognizing the resilience of everyone and recognizing the cooperation of people. A lot of people don't like wearing masks. I have to wear a mask 12 hours a day at work and it sucks. And people come in and they don't want to wear a mask, but we know that it's for the greater good. So it's always nice to see the humanity in people and people following rules that seem arbitrary or they don't understand, but they recognize that it's the best thing for everybody involved. And then there's the assholes who do the complete opposite just because they can.
Good points. Last question for you is, if you met someone sad in the streets, what would be your approach or your advice to this person?
I guess it would depend on what they are sad about. And it's kind of looking at the issue and seeing how that sadness came to be. And sometimes people don't actually want advice on how to fix it. Sometimes people just want to be able to talk about it, to talk about their dismay, to talk about how it's affected them. And they don't want practical advice. There's different steps of sadness. And I think I would approach it with just letting them vent and tell me about your sorrows. Tell me about how it's affected you. And then from that, you will begin to gradually see the emotional capacity increase for the next stage, which would be maybe it is problem solving. So it's always explore first, explore and see why.
Very good. Eric, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words and you just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
Okay.
Let's start with family.
Family, hate.
Oops. How about money?
Oh, gross.
Love?
Abundance.
Life?
Laugh.
Sex?
Oh, sex. Yes, please.
Politics?
Hate it. Hate.
Religion?
Abolish.
Fear?
Sorrow.
Friendship?
Alliance.
Desire?
Cheesecake. That's my hidden desire at every moment of my life.
How about regrets?
Choices.
Success?
Resilience.
One word for wish.
Happiness.
And one word for happiness.
Goals.
One word for Vancouver.
Pretentious.
One word for Canada.
Maple syrup. That's 2 words, but I'm going to put a hyphen between it.
Actually, look what I brought for Canada.
Ah!
And actually, I brought this as well. The sweets. I don't know if you can see, but it's like. Oops, can you see? You know, I'm not sure.
No, what is it? Candy salmon? Is it?
Yeah, it's like some candy, like some syrup as well. It's
Nice.
yeah, for my colleagues from work. I'm gonna bring tomorrow. And the last one now, nurse. One word.
Compassion.
Very good. Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, and I'm going to ask your best friend, tell me the most beautiful thing about Eric, and tell me something that he still needs to improve on, to work on. What do you think your best friend would tell me?
He would probably tell you that I am ambitious, and he would also tell you that I'm stubborn and that I work too much.
Listen to him, maybe he knows what he's talking about. Let's play now, Eric, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time.
Okay.
Okay, Eric, you can ask me a question now.
Yeah. The question I would like to ask you is, if you could tell your 15-year-old self a piece of life advice, what would you tell him?
I love the question. I love it. Okay, I'll sit down with myself at this age and I'll tell myself, okay, William, look, through your life, you're gonna face a lot of happiness, a lot of great moments, a lot of memories that you're never gonna forget. At the same time as well, you're gonna have a lot of tough times. You're gonna find some very negativity periods of your life that you're not gonna be able to see the big picture out there while you're going through that. My advice for you is, when you feel very happy, very full of this beautiful, great feeling of being happy, and at the same time as well, when you feel very down for some reason, or you feel really tough times, some rough times as well, just understand that both of those moments, they're gonna go away. They're gonna pass by one point. They're gonna go away. It's not gonna be forever. So enjoy both of them. I know the tough times gonna be difficult to enjoy, but just try to understand at the time that they are necessary. They're necessary to make you grow, to put you in a better place. They're also, both of their moments, they're essential. They're essential to your life. So face both moments with gratitude and understanding as well. And always remember, they're not gonna be forever. Tough times is going to be more difficult maybe for you to understand that, but it's going to go one point. Sometimes it will go. It's not going to be forever there. That's the advice I would give to myself for sure at the time.
That's good advice. I think it's good advice for anybody. You can't build fences around life. Every moment is its own unique moment and it's fleeting. So enjoy it for what it is. Yeah.
Absolutely. As I said, so I wish I knew that earlier. Because sometimes when you go through tough times, difficult times, you just have this feeling that, oh my God, it's gonna be like that for a very long time, and it's not. And you look back, you're like, oh my God, it passed somehow. You know, the universe, the time, kind of healed for somehow, and show the message. And in the future, you see the message, and you go like, oh, now I understand why I went through that for some reason. So, yeah, that would be my advice to myself at the time. Eric, did you enjoy the interview?
This was a lot of fun. It really, thank you so much for asking me to be part of this.
Thank you so much for being so kind and sweet, and to accept my invitation as well, and to share this lovely energy that you have for your life. Amazing. I just love it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
But before you go, I just would like you to share a positive message, a positive quote, something that inspires in life.
Yeah, okay. So a positive quote that I would say is, be the person you want to be tomorrow, today.
Wow. Never heard that before. I love that. Amazing. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Eric, for the interview. Thanks for taking your time, and keep in touch, okay? All the regards. And one day I'll come to Vancouver to say hello.
Yes, and then when you come to Vancouver, we'll make a YouTube collaboration, and it'll be cool.
I'm here available anytime. Take care. Happy New Year, okay? Keep in touch.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.